What's going on, everybody? It is currently, I think it's like 11 o'clock on Wednesday. I believe today is the 16th. About to go do something I haven't done in a very long time. Kind of excited to do it. For those of you that don't know, you can't see on my arms, but I am a very big superhero fan. I have been collecting comics for well over probably 12 years, 22 years old, so since about 10, maybe a little younger. And comics played a big part in me getting sober. When I first moved away from all the drugs and bad stuff, it was a way for me to push myself to work, push myself to save up money so that I could buy these comics. And when I started off buying comics on Wednesdays. When like the new comics would come out, I'd spend like $20 a week on comics that I would read. And then I started doing research when I started getting older, and I started buying older comics. And spending thousands of dollars a month on comic books. It was fun. But I haven't done it in a while. Financial reasons mostly, but also because it's a long story. I'll probably tell it a different time. But long story short, I had about a $50,000 comic book collection that took me well over probably 5 years to acquire. And one day I just sold everything. Got rid of it all. And I told myself I'd never buy a comic book again. That's why I got the tattoos. Because I told myself, can't get rid of the tattoos, you know? They'll always be there. But I just love comic books. I love superheroes. DC is introducing a whole new line of superheroes, and I don't know. I think as long as I can keep myself under control when I go to the comic book shops, keep it to like a once a week, once every 2 week basis, spend no more than like $20, I think it'd be a little good, you know? Get some reading and get a little collecting going again, you know? Now that I'm like 100% sober, it's like I gotta get a job, but I have some money saved up, so if I really want to, I can spend the money. But yeah, so it's just a little video, let you know how I'm doing today. Hope everyone's having a good day. I think I'm the only one that watches these videos, but like I said, I don't really care. It's funny. I don't really want to talk about too much today. I kind of just wanted to make a video because I told myself I was going to make a video every day. Which is funny, you know, because it's like, no one watches these. There's no financial reason to make these videos. There's really only a downside to making these videos in hindsight, which is like, okay, could prevent me from getting a job one day. But at the end of the day, it's like, the videos are for me more than anything, you know. So if someone can watch this and learn something from it, that'd be cool. But today we're going to talk about a very, I'd say, important drug and also a very destructive drug. This drug saved my life, I guess you could say, but also kind of destroyed my life. And it's suboxone. Suboxone, whatever you want to call it. They used to come in little green packages back in the day. Now they come in blue little strips that are orange, usually 8 milligrams. And it's legal heroin, is what it is. It's funny, you know, it's like, people say all the time, why don't they legalize cocaine? Why don't they legalize heroin? Why don't they just legalize weed and all this stuff? And then, you know, the government can make money off all these drugs, you know, instead of it being illegal. People don't realize they do. They have medical marijuana. They have benzos you could buy, you know. You got Oxycontin, you can get, you know, Xanax prescription. I mean, look at lean. You know what I mean? You know what lean is? Lean is fucking cough syrup. That's pretty much heroin. It's pretty much an opiate. That's all it is. It's an addictive drug for rich people. You know what I mean? So you don't have to shoot a fucking needle into your arm. You just drink a little drink. And people think it's cool, but you're just as addicted as snorting fucking dope or smoking dope or shooting dope. Same thing. I got on Suboxone, and I'll be honest, I got on it illegally. It's kind of a fucked up story. But when I had moved down to Florida about 2 years ago, maybe a little longer, I did not necessarily think I was going to stay sober just because I moved. It was one of those things where I had to come down here and tell myself I wasn't going to do heroin. When I first moved down to Florida, I was doing cocaine, smoking weed, and it was depressing. I could not stay sober. It was hard for me to sleep. I was still going through physical withdrawals from the heroin because I was shooting up when I lived in New York up to the day that I got on the plane to come down to Florida. So I was still physically withdrawing, but I couldn't get a suboxone prescription. It was like impossible. I was too young. I was like 19, and it was like no one would give it to me. So my mom, 40-year-old woman, who had been going through this drug addiction, 3 overdoses, 3 trips to rehab, ruining my life, stealing, robbing. She finally said one day, well, let's get this over with. And she lied to her doctor, told the doctor that she was a drug addict, like yada, yada, yada. And the doctor fell for it because she took a little piece of Oxy that she had like left over from years ago, because my mom's the type of person to always keep your prescriptions just in case, you know what I mean? Like, even if you got leftovers, you should always keep them, unless they're like out of date or something. But long story short, I was able to get on the Suboxone because my mom had gone to the doctor, lied to the doctor, and my mom was giving me Suboxone. I was taking it every single day for 2 years. I started off taking a whole piece, 8 milligrams, and then I wanted to get off of it because I started feeling normal, but I knew I was still addicted to it. I had to take it every single day or I was getting sick. I wouldn't be able to relax. It would stress me out more than anything if I forgot to take a fucking piece of Suboxone. And that's how I knew. And that's why I still say to this day, I've only been sober for 2 weeks. It is the 16th of whatever it is, May or whatever. I've been sober for 3 years. I haven't touched heroin in 3 years. You know what I mean? I haven't really touched a drug in almost 3 years besides marijuana, really, and alcohol. But I've been on Suboxone for all that time. So when people say they're sober, but they're taking methadone or Suboxone or Zubsolv or whatever it is, you're not really sober, you know? I was always that kid that was like afraid to get arrested or afraid to like get in a fist fight with someone because I'd go to jail and I'd have to withdraw from heroin. You know what I mean? Withdraw from the Suboxone. And it was like the biggest fear of my life. So I always knew ever since the day I got on it that I never wanted to take this for long term. But it was one of those things where I never knew if I was going to be strong enough to get myself off of it. So it was scary. I stayed on it for 2 years, and then my insurance changed, and they switched me over to Zubsolv. And that is when I was able to get off the drugs, was when I took the Zubsolv, and that was a pill that's like 5.7 milligrams, I guess. It's a little lower dosage. Went through insane withdrawals for about a week, but 2 weeks later, here I am. Still having a little bit of sleeping issues. I don't fall asleep till super late at night, and I wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning every single day on the dot. But no physical withdrawals anymore. My legs get a little tiny crampy sometimes late at night, but no cold sweats, no nothing. It was bad. When I was going through withdrawals in the hospital, I was throwing up more than anything. The nausea. Taking Zubsolv, when you withdraw from Zubsolv, you won't be able to eat or drink anything for about 3 days, okay? It's terrible. I had to go to the emergency room. Once you leave the emergency room on the 4th day, though, you're pretty much all right, as long as you don't leave your house. That's why I lost my job, though, which it was understanding, you know what I mean? Like, get off the drugs that you've been on and been addicted to for 6 years, or, you know, get sober. So I lost my job. I haven't had a job in about a month. Haven't been making money. But my living situation right now is pretty perfect to where I really don't have to spend any money if I don't want to, besides like on food and stuff. I don't really have any bills besides like my phone bill. So if I really wanted to, I could make $2,000 last me another 6-7 months, you know what I mean? So I can give myself time, which is nice, you know what I mean? It's like things kind of worked out to where I randomly decided I wanted to get off the medication one day. I didn't taper off properly. It's also a big problem. I stopped taking the Zubsolv when I was still taking a half a piece a day, which I guess you're supposed to taper yourself off to where, like, you're doing a little bit of, like, powder. There's, like, powder on your finger, and you're supposed to, like, you know, you're supposed to crush the pill up, and take a little bit of powder, but I wasn't aware of that, so it made me go through serious withdrawals. So make sure, you guys, if you're taking Suboxone or Zubsolv, when you get off of it, do it the right way, because if you don't, it's just as uncomfortable as heroin. It's like, yeah, you might not get the cold sweats and your legs might not be cramping, but the nausea is something that is actually scary. You know what I mean? It's something that can kill you if you don't take it seriously, because when I say nausea, as in like you can't drink and you can't eat anything. I couldn't even eat Jell-O. I was eating chicken broth for like 7 days. That's all I could ingest. They had to put me on IV for liquids because I just could not ingest liquids. And it's scary because people say you can't die from opiate withdrawal, which is correct, but you can die from dehydration, from throwing up too much. You know, everyone talks about alcohol as being this big thing. Oh, alcohol poisoning, or you could die from long-term alcohol stuff. And yeah, but that's like 30, 40 years down the road. You know what I mean? With heroin, it's something where you're a heroin addict for a couple weeks and you're done as soon as you start shooting it up. The medicine definitely helps, the Suboxone. It's nice. You don't really get high off it unless like you want to get high off it. As long as you don't abuse it, it helps. But it was definitely hard to get off of. So if you're that person that is thinking of taking Suboxone, do it with the understanding that you're going to get off it within a year. If you're doing it longer than a year, you're going to go through withdrawals like none other. So be smart. Don't take medications. Looking back at it now, with the knowledge I have now, I could break my back tomorrow, wake up in the hospital, and they would tell me, you know, oh, we got a prescription for Oxycontin for you, so for the pain. I would tell them to fuck off. I'll never take a prescription drug again. I got Adderall prescriptions and Xanax prescriptions being offered to me. It's fucking crazy, you know what I mean? You tell these people that you used to be a drug addict and you finally got sober, but you need something to help you put to sleep, or you need something because your anxiety is driving you crazy. I used to, for the first like week, I couldn't leave my house because my anxiety was so bad. I've been using prescription drugs as mood stabilizers for 6 years. 6 years. Pretty much every day, using a drug to help me cope with fucking life, you know? And it's like, it's crazy, man, how it changes you. Physically, your body takes a long time to get back to normal, too. So, the longer you take this shit, the harder it is, you know? But this is just a general video. Maybe one day I'll make a video about, like, Suboxone. But there's so many videos on that fucking drug already. It's like, people pretty much know what it is. Yeah, so that's it. I'm pretty excited, too. Tomorrow is Deadpool 2 comes out. Bought my tickets like a month ago, so we got pretty good seats. I got saved like reserved seats at this really nice movie theater that has like recliners and stuff, so it's pretty cool. Hopefully it's good. Got good reviews. Ryan Reynolds is awesome, so it should be fun. It's going to be it, though. Everyone have a good day, and I'll see you guys around.